Hi there, everybody. It is Wednesday evening. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. Want to take a look at the forecast, kind of big picture across the country, because there's going to be some really impactful weather west of us, and there's going to be really impactful weather east of us. However, a lot of areas, especially downstate, remain in a snow drought where we've seen this much snow this winter. It's unbelievable. First time in 100 and some years that that's happened, especially south of Indianapolis. You get down towards Evansville, they haven't seen much of anything. Our snow's been melting off over the last couple of days, still decent snowpack north and west of us. So that's going to lead to some fog tonight. But I really want to take a close look at two things here in this Region Weather Live. I want to talk about the cold air because there's more of it to come. It's going to be a very cold end to January around here. So the next couple of weeks looking below average. Imagine that. The other thing I want to look at is the storm system that's going to impact areas near Iowa and even as close as Illinois. I know a lot of models were taking that through here earlier this week. We did not jump on that. You haven't heard a word from us. And look what's happened. This system is actually going to stay off towards the west. So we'll talk about that. It's going to be very impactful on the East Coast. Meanwhile, we've got a very short intro video that gives me no time to get ready. Here it is. That's it. Barely even got my maps together. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. Thanks for joining us this evening, everybody. I'm region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. Good evening to you, Rob. Josh Pate's on here. No snow. Couldn't be us. Sincerely, Nashville. Yeah, Josh is down in Nashville, and they've had, 7 to 9 inches on the year so far. Just incredible where the snow has fallen and where the snow has not fallen. Jacob, sorry, I didn't want to give it away in the intro, but I had to, buddy. I didn't want to tease anyone and say big winter storm and then click here. That's not how we roll. And then Lynn, hi, you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, so let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is the cold. And here's what we're dealing with in terms of that cold. It is really cold up in Canada right now. Areas that you see, once it turns from that purple over to like that whitish color, that's when we go below zero. Areas of northern Maine saw temperatures about 20 to 30 degrees below zero over the last couple of days. So some bitter cold air is north of us. We've kind of flirted with it. The last couple mornings we've been in the single digits, but obviously we've warmed up today. So where do we go from here? As we go through time, there are several more shots of Arctic air that are going to come at us. You notice as we go through the daytime tomorrow, the bulk of that Arctic air, we're going to keep our eye on this area up here. The bulk of that Arctic air heads north, but it kind of reloads towards the Hudson Bay. There's going to be an area of low pressure that heads our way, and that will cause all of that cold air to kind of sink into the U.S. versus a real sharp cold front, which you can get. And watch how this happens. So we're fine tomorrow. We're fine on Friday, but things will start to change as that system just kind of leaks itself into the U.S. So it's going to get cold around here this weekend. We'll be in the 20s. Areas of Maine and upstate New York are once again going to be below zero. Very, very cold air for them. And there's a system. You can kind of see this little swirl. This is that one we're talking about. This system's going to dive down into the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to pick up moisture, head up the East Coast. And as that low develops, it'll pull more cold air our direction. So we're going to remain cold over the weekend. We may moderate the beginning of next week, but look at this. As we get into next week, there's a decent shot of cold air coming in perhaps on Wednesday, and then another one reloading that looks even bigger late next week. So we're talking about a week and a half away right now. But signs that we have a warm up anytime in the future are simply not there. We're going to have a very cold end to the month as it looks right now. So what's that do for our temperatures? Well, here's what we're looking at temperature-wise across, this is Porter County. This is just an example. And I happen to pull from the GFS because it goes longest range out. But look where our temps go. We're 30s. We're moderate the next couple days, but we dip down this weekend back into the 20s. We go back up early next week. And then look at those two Arctic hits next week. By the end of next week, we're talking perhaps teens for temperatures. We moderate only into the 20s. And then that bigger cold blast, perhaps on the 23rd, 24th. We'll see how that goes. But bottom line, this isn't going to be the coldest air we've ever seen, right? But it's a decent, consistent hit of cold air across the U.S. So then we've got to talk about this snow system, right? And I'm actually going to get a little closer in here so you can see this a little bit better on your screen. If you have travel plans, this would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday on the East Coast. If you have travel plans westward into areas of Iowa, Minnesota, perhaps for business, whatever it happens to be, you're going to encounter problems over the next couple of days. If you have travel plans late weekend East Coast, you're going to encounter problems the next couple of days. If you have travel plans down to the south, you're going to have problems over the course of the weekend. This is a big, impactful system. And in all my years of meteorology, I have not seen a storm take this track before, as it's diving right out of Canada. So take a look at this. This is just the first little hint of what this system's going to look like. And we've got some local impacts from it too, but they're really not going to be that big. So here we are, Thursday, tomorrow, quiet, not really a big deal. We may have, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, some fog tonight. That fog is going to be mainly where the snowpack is in areas of Illinois up towards Wisconsin, but we'll probably see some leak into our area as well. So perhaps some fog tomorrow. That's it. Once it burns off, we're fine. As we get into Friday, here comes this area of low pressure from the west. It'll have a nice swath of snow with it. That'll be putting down some real heavy snow in Iowa and Minnesota. You notice as we get closer to home, we're turning that wind off the lake. So we'll likely have a very light lake effect snow band that develops, and it may be a little bit more widespread as this model is showing, but that would develop and head to mainly Chicago, but we could see areas of Lake County get clipped by that. Again, not expecting big accumulations with that. Where we are expecting big accumulations is with this system. Look at the snow that stretches from Iowa, and look at the direction the storm's taking. Normally, we'll see storms come at us from the west. We'll have weak clipper systems come at us from the northwest, but this is a full-on Pacific snowstorm coming at us from the northwest and even the north, and it's going to dive down to the south. Again, models earlier this week brought this system through northwest Indiana. We stayed mum on it for a reason, because there was a lot of discrepancy in those models, and it does look like it's going to hold just west. So barring any big changes in the track of this, which I'm not anticipating, because we got a pretty good read of the system now that it's finally on shore out towards Pacific, barring any big changes, this is going to miss us. Maybe a couple flurries from it. Newton, Jasper County, you'd stand the best risk of that. But overall, the system should miss us down to the south and the west. So where does it go from here? I want to show you this track and some of the snowfall that goes along with it. It really is incredible to see kind of where this goes and how intense it gets. So let's go through time. This is the Euro model. You can see here it is diving out of the northern plains, comes south as we saw. So that's where we're going to pick up the story. And watch how this low dives all the way down in the areas of Mississippi, right? Started in Canada, and it's coming all the way down to Mississippi. It's going to develop even stronger there. We'll likely gather some Gulf moisture as lows do down there. How far south that cold air gets is a big question right now, but it does look like areas of Arkansas, Tennessee, and then a portion of Georgia where the colder air is, and the Carolinas. Some of the Carolinas may see the first decent snow since 2017 and 2018. But bottom line, the deep south, there are going to be portions that have a mess on their hands. And this is Saturday into Sunday. You notice all the pinks across areas of Georgia and the Carolinas. There's a process called cold air damming that's taking place out there. If your kids are watching, it's fine. I did not say a bad word. That is actually a meteorological process where cold air comes down the Appalachians. It's blown down there, and it can't go anywhere because it's trapped by the mountains, right? So they've got this cold air just sitting there. We're throwing moisture on top of it, and depending on the profile of that atmosphere, there is more than likely going to be an ice storm in addition to snow, sleet, freezing rain, everything, for areas of Georgia and South and North Carolina. So travel plans on Sunday in that vicinity, forget about it. It's going to be a mess. Meanwhile, we've got heavy snow in the northern end of this, and watch how this thing just curls up the East Coast. Heavy, heavy snows for areas of Pennsylvania, New York. The I-95 corridor is going to be in play with that rain snow line. That's often where it's decided there, and that will pull that colder air in here next week. As we go through time beyond that, if you're looking for local snow here, sometimes these East Coast systems, if they track far enough west, can trigger some lake effect snow, even off of Lake Michigan. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's something we'll have to watch. We may have some lake snows around here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They would likely be on the lighter side, and they'd likely target more of Michigan. But you can see as we go through time, we have our next system to watch. This would be a clipper system that comes in here Tuesday, Wednesday. As of right now, the track is north, but that can change. If this track's a little bit further south, we could get a decent accumulating snow out of that. It would be quick. The big story behind that's the cold air, as we talked about, and then a look further in time. That's kind of a messy. I've never seen a setup like that, but that would bring a strip of snow in here by the time that next cold air mass gets in here beyond that. So that's what we're looking at weather-wise as we go through really the next 10 days or so. It's mainly just cold air for us. So as we always do in Regional Weather Lives, if you have questions, go ahead and input those now. We'll talk about it a little bit. Sorry to disappoint. No snow days in the near future. Might be a cold weather day, if anything, but it doesn't really look like a whole lot in terms of snow locally. All right. So Miranda got on. She's asking, are we expecting snow? Not a whole lot, Miranda. There are going to be, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, a little bit of lake effect that I think will target mainly Chicago over the next 48 hours or so. And that's as that big snow that you see here on the map kind of works its way through and drags the wind off the lake. But locally, I'm not seeing a whole lot here for the region, unfortunately. We continue to enjoy our snow drought. We had a little bit, I get it, last week, but we are behind average. Tom, you're welcome on that. Shar, you're welcome. I can deal with the cold, she says, but the snow, not so much. Shar, I feel you on that. I always said if it's going to be cold, it might as well snow. I don't like cold when it's not snowing because it's like, well, it's cold enough, but we're not doing anything with it. So there you go. Ann, you're absolutely welcome. Tina, thanks for joining us. Brandon asking, will we get any snow amounts Friday and Saturday? That's a great question, Brandon. I don't think much, if anything. I really don't. The one thing we'll have to watch is more towards the Sunday, Monday time frame, even into Tuesday, to see if we get some of that lake effect snow. Doesn't look like much at this point. It really doesn't. That system's going to head off the East Coast. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on the lakes. If we get moisture far enough west, which would impact us, we could get some lake snows in Porter and LaPorte County. But as of right now, it doesn't look like a whole much. Portage Streets and Sanitation, you're absolutely welcome. We appreciate what you do. I follow you guys. You do great work. You keeping the streets clean. You're welcome. I know, water main breaks, stuff like that are big this time of year. So certainly appreciate all the work that you guys do. Olivia, is it possible that we get a blizzard at all this winter? Olivia, it's certainly possible. If you think about it, our most active blizzard time frame is typically January, February, and March, right? And the reason why is because we tend to tap into the Gulf of Mexico more. In January, when it's cold, we often don't get the Gulf of Mexico in play with our storms. We get these storms out of the Northwest that are Arctic storms. The Arctic cold air doesn't hold a lot of moisture, so we don't tend to get a lot of snowfall or those big, robust snowfalls out of this. As we get into February and March, we start to warm the atmosphere up, right? Systems tend to come a little bit more out of the south as we're bringing warm air into it, and warm air holds more moisture, right? That's why it's so dry in the wintertime, right? Your skin's cracked, all that stuff, because there's just no moisture in the air, whereas a warmer, humid air mass holds moisture, right? That makes sense. And so if you're throwing more moisture in the storm systems, you can get some bigger lows with a lot heavier snow, and they tend to be wind producers. And yes, so to answer your question, yes, we can still get a blizzard this year. In February and March would be the biggest months for that historically. Ovedis is driving from Virginia to Indiana on Saturday. Okay, that's going to be interesting. Let's go to the big map and plan your travel here, if we shall, just because you're going to be hopefully out ahead of this storm. But here we go. This is Saturday morning in Virginia. Everything's still off towards the west. So if you're going from here to here, you're probably going up. I don't know what route you're going to take. Maybe you're taking 40 across. If I were you, I would probably head on over to 77 and take that up to the toll road. That would be your best bet because this system will be producing a little bit of snow as you get down towards I-40, which runs east and west towards Tennessee. I don't know if you're planning 40 to 65, but it would probably be safer just to take the northern route to that, even if it adds a half hour or so, because this system will be moving into Tennessee later in the day Saturday. So you might be impacted by that. Maxwell, hey buddy, at least it won't feel cold since the snow's melting. Yeah, that's true. When we don't have snowpack on the ground, our temperatures tend to bump up a little bit, right? Because the sun's heating effect can go into the ground, whereas snow, it bounces off. So there's no heating effect, and kind of interesting in that. Heather, I don't know if you're a Bears fan or not. The Packers are going though, and I'm just in the art of prediction here, but it's going to be the Packers, and I haven't decided on the other side yet. Chrissy, keep it away. Sorry, Chrissy. We are keeping it away, actually. It's going to go around us, as most systems like to do. Let's see. George says, what does traveling look like to Chattanooga, Tennessee on Sunday? Okay, that's interesting. Let's get you to it. So this is this is Sunday morning where we are right now. So, if you're traveling, I would travel Saturday if you could, George. This isn't a slam dunk storm system for Chattanooga, but you see, this is Sunday morning, the precip's moving in. And I don't know where you're flying into. You notice by Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, we're dealing with real heavy snow and perhaps some icing. So I would get there Saturday if you can, George, and I would plan on staying probably. I would imagine you have business probably on Monday. So you may be delayed coming back on Monday. Things should be clearing up on Monday in Chattanooga, but Sunday looks kind of rough. There's going to be all sorts of winter weather thrown their way. So that might be something you want to do is head down Saturday because Sunday's going to get kind of rough heading in. All right. Chrissy just washed her truck. That's good. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this edition of Regional Weather Live. I appreciate you guys joining me. As always, we appreciate your support, and we've got a nice family of folks here just to chat weather. So we'll keep you updated on this winter storm. Again, the one to watch is going to be this one off towards the west. I don't think the track's going to change on this, but if it would bring us some snow into the area over the course of the weekend, or actually the next couple of days. But I don't see that happening. And as always, I will continue to watch for the next snow. I know a lot of people waiting on it. Normally we're sick of it by now, but we're not yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know as soon as we know, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Have a good night.